Devil's Tramping Ground, a barren circle of mystery. As the sun dips below the horizon, casting long shadows across the dense North Carolina forest, an eerie stillness descends upon a small clearing. At first glance, it appears unremarkable. Just another patch of woodland in the vast expanse of the Tar Heel State. But look closer and you'll notice something unsettling. A perfect circle, about 40 feet in diameter, where nothing grows. No grass, no shrubs, not even the hardiest of weeds. The ground is bare, as if scorched by an otherworldly presence. Welcome to the Devil's Tramping Ground, a place where legends whisper of nocturnal visits from the Prince of Darkness himself. Nestled in Chatham County, just south of Siler City, North Carolina, the Devil's Tramping Ground has been a source of mystery and trepidation for centuries. Long before European settlers arrived, Native American tribes regarded this area with a mix of fear and reverence, believing it to be a place where powerful spirits convened. The first documented accounts of the peculiar barren circle date back to the early 1800s, when pioneers began to settle in the region. They quickly noticed the unusual formation and, unable to explain its existence through natural means, turned to supernatural explanations. The name Devil's Tramping Ground emerged from these early settler tales, reflecting the belief that this was no ordinary patch of earth, but a place touched by dark forces. Over the years, the legend has grown, attracting curiosity seekers, paranormal investigators, and those brave or foolish enough to test the veracity of the tales surrounding this mysterious spot. Despite numerous scientific investigations and attempts to debunk the myths, the Devil's Tramping Ground continues to defy explanation, its barren circle persisting against all odds. As night falls and the forest grows quiet, save for the occasional hoot of an owl or rustle of leaves, the Devil's Tramping Ground takes on an otherworldly atmosphere. According to legend, this is the time when the devil himself emerges from the depths of the earth to pace in circles, contemplating how to bring about the downfall of humanity. Locals speak in hushed tones of strange occurrences witnessed at the site. Some claim to have seen shadowy figures moving within the circle, visible only from the corner of the eye. Others report hearing heavy footsteps and feeling an oppressive presence, as if something ancient and malevolent is watching from just beyond the tree line. One particularly chilling account comes from a group of campers who decided to spend the night near the Devil's Tramping Ground in the summer of 1958. John Davidson, the sole surviving member of that ill-fated expedition, recounted his experience years later, his voice trembling as he spoke. "We were just a bunch of kids looking for a thrill," John began, his eyes distant as he recalled that fateful night. "We'd heard about the Devil's Tramping Ground and thought it would be exciting to camp there. Test our bravery and all that." John and his 4 friends set up their tents just outside the barren circle, close enough to observe it, but not daring to sleep within its boundaries. As night fell, an unnatural silence descended upon the area. Even the usual forest sounds seemed muted, as if nature itself was holding its breath. "It was around midnight when we first heard it," John continued, "a low, rhythmic thumping, like heavy footsteps circling our campsite. We all woke up thinking it was one of us moving around, but when we checked, everyone was accounted for in their tents." The footsteps grew louder, and with them came a sense of dread that settled over the campsite like a thick fog. The air grew cold, unseasonably so for a summer night in North Carolina. John and his friends huddled together, too terrified to leave their tents, but equally afraid of what might happen if they stayed. "That's when we saw it," John whispered, his voice barely audible. "A shadow darker than the night itself, moving in a perfect circle just beyond our campfire's light. It was massive, easily 7 or 8 feet tall, and it moved with a purpose, as if it was pacing, thinking." The entity continued its relentless circuit, and as it moved, the campers noticed that plants seemed to wither and die in its wake. The grass beneath its feet turned brown and crumbled to dust, leaving behind a trail of barren earth. Paralyzed with fear, John and his friends watched as the shadow completed 7 circuits of their campsite. With each pass, it seemed to grow more substantial, more real. On the 7th circuit, it paused, turning slowly to face the group of terrified teenagers. "Its eyes," John said, shuddering at the memory. "They were like burning coals, glowing with an infernal light." In that moment, I knew we were looking at something not of this world, something ancient and evil. What happened next, John could never fully explain. He remembered a deafening roar, like the sound of 1,000 tortured souls crying out at once. The ground shook, and a blinding light erupted from the center of the barren circle. When John regained consciousness, he found himself alone at the edge of the clearing, his friends nowhere to be seen. Searches were conducted, but no trace of the other 4 campers was ever found. John's story was met with skepticism by authorities, who suggested that his friends had simply abandoned him as part of an elaborate prank. But those who knew the missing teenagers insisted that they would never have done such a thing. In the years that followed, John's account became just one of many strange tales associated with the Devil's Tramping Ground. Some dismiss his story as the product of an overactive imagination or a guilty conscience. Others see it as proof of the site's supernatural nature. Regardless of one's beliefs, the fact remains that the barren circle continues to defy explanation. Numerous attempts have been made to cultivate the land within its boundaries, but all have failed. Seeds planted there refuse to sprout, and transplanted vegetation withers and dies within days. Scientists have analyzed the soil, searching for contaminants or unusual mineral compositions that might explain the lack of growth. While they found slightly elevated levels of salt in the soil, it's not enough to account for the complete absence of vegetation. Some researchers have suggested that the circular pattern might be the result of underground gas deposits or hidden sinkholes, but extensive geological surveys have failed to support these theories. Adding to the mystery are the reports of objects left within the circle mysteriously moving or disappearing altogether. Campers and investigators who have placed items such as tent stakes, cameras, or personal belongings within the barren area often return to find them displaced or gone without a trace. One particularly intriguing incident occurred in 1973 when a team of paranormal researchers attempted to conduct an overnight study of the site. They set up an array of scientific equipment, including seismographs, electromagnetic field detectors, and infrared cameras, hoping to capture evidence of any unusual activity. According to the team's lead investigator, Dr. Eleanor Simmons, everything was proceeding normally until approximately 3 a.m. "Our equipment started malfunctioning simultaneously," she reported. "The readings went haywire, showing impossible spikes in electromagnetic activity and seismic disturbances that should have been felt for miles around, yet were confined to the circle itself." The team's cameras captured a series of blurry images that seemed to show a dark, humanoid figure moving within the circle. However, when they attempted to retrieve their equipment for a closer analysis, they found that every piece of technology they had placed within the barren area had been reduced to a molten mass of plastic and metal. It was as if something had generated an intense heat, focused specifically on our equipment, Dr. Simmons explained. Yet there were no signs of fire or burning anywhere else in the circle. It defies all logical explanation. The Devil's Tramping Ground has also attracted its fair share of skeptics and debunkers over the years. Some argue that the barren circle is nothing more than the result of poor soil conditions or the long-term effects of cattle grazing. They point out that similar circular patterns can be found in other parts of the world, often with perfectly natural explanations. However, even the most ardent skeptics struggle to explain away all of the anomalies associated with the site. The persistence of the circle over centuries, its perfect shape, and the numerous eyewitness accounts of strange phenomena continue to challenge purely rational explanations. Local folklore offers its own set of explanations for the Devil's Tramping Ground. Some say that it's a portal to hell itself, a thin spot in the veil between our world and the infernal realms. Others believe it to be a sacred site, used by Native American shamans for vision quests and rituals long before European settlers arrived. One particularly intriguing theory suggests that the circle is actually a form of protection, created by ancient guardians to contain something dark and dangerous. According to this version of the legend, the entity that paces the circle isn't the devil coming up from hell, but rather a powerful evil force trying to break free from its centuries-old prison. Despite the fear and trepidation surrounding the Devil's Tramping Ground, or perhaps because of it, the site continues to draw visitors from far and wide. Some come out of curiosity, eager to see the mysterious barren circle for themselves. Others are drawn by a sense of adventure, hoping to experience something supernatural or to solve the puzzle that has confounded generations. Local authorities have grappled with how to manage the site, balancing public interest with safety concerns and respect for private property. While the Devil's Tramping Ground itself is on public land, much of the surrounding area is privately owned, leading to occasional conflicts between curious visitors and local residents. In recent years, there have been efforts to preserve the site and document its history. Local historical societies have collected accounts from longtime residents, piecing together a timeline of strange occurrences and evolving legends. Paranormal research groups continue to conduct investigations, using ever more sophisticated equipment in their quest to unravel the mystery. Yet for all the attention and scrutiny, the Devil's Tramping Ground remains an enigma. The barren circle persists, defying attempts at cultivation or explanation. And on dark nights, when the wind whispers through the trees and shadows seem to move of their own accord, locals swear they can still hear the heavy footsteps of something pacing, always pacing in that perfect circle. As we conclude our journey into the heart of this North Carolina mystery, we're left with more questions than answers. Is the Devil's Tramping Ground truly the nightly pacing ground of Satan himself? Could it be a natural phenomenon that science has yet to explain? Or is it something else entirely? A convergence of folklore, geology, and the human tendency to seek supernatural explanations for the unknown? Perhaps the true power of the Devil's Tramping Ground lies not in any definitive answer, but in its ability to captivate our imaginations and challenge our understanding of the world around us. It stands as a testament to the enduring nature of legend and the human desire to explore the boundaries between the known and the unknown. As you ponder the tales of the Devil's Tramping Ground, consider this. If you found yourself standing at the edge of that barren circle on a moonless night, hearing the snap of twigs and feeling the weight of unseen eyes upon you, what would you believe? And more importantly, would you dare to step inside? If you've enjoyed this journey into the mysterious world of the Devil's Tramping Ground, we invite you to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more explorations of lesser-known urban legends and unexplained phenomena. Share your thoughts and theories in the comments below. Have you ever visited a place with a similar legend? Do you believe there's a rational explanation for the Devil's Tramping Ground? Or do you think some mysteries are better left unsolved? Your engagement helps us continue to bring these fascinating stories to light, so don't forget to hit that notification bell to stay updated on our latest videos. Until next time, keep exploring the unknown. But remember, some legends might be more than just stories.